Thank you for joining us, everyone, today. We are here joined by Merry Graf from Webster University to talk about the anniversary of Title IX. Mary, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
I want to thank you for joining us today. You've had nearly 3 decades of coaching from the youth level to high school to college to the U.S. juniors. So you've kind of seen every level. Can you tell everybody a little bit what impact has Title IX had along all those kind of different areas?
Yeah, I mean, I think Title IX has been just, really important to all of those. I think a lot of times people associate it with college. However, I think that, when I look back, at least, of what was offered when I was a young athlete, there was not near the things that are offered for the athletes now. So it is wonderful to see the growth, not just at the collegiate level, but also at those youth sports, grade schools, high schools, all the way through.
Yeah, as you mentioned, when you were playing softball and volleyball star up at Millikan, can you tell everybody, just give them an idea of what it was like during your time, and then maybe a little compare and contrast as to what is available now for women's athletics and equality overall.
Yeah, I mean, I feel actually somewhat fortunate with what I had because I have sisters that are 5, 6, and 7 years older than me, and they didn't have near what I even had. But it is super nice to see the growth beyond that. So, really, for me, by the time I was, grade school, we were kind of starting to get some sports, didn't have as much as the male counterparts, obviously, but high school, again, better. Collegiate was even better than that. So, it's really nice on that level. But now, having coached club volleyball, all of that, wow, that would have been amazing to have those things available to us as well. So, overall, just the more we can do to try to bring the equity, keep the equity, and definitely give these young women opportunities at all levels is important.
Right, and that's what the opportunity. Whether it's volleyball or softball, those are the popular sports. But now it's in any kind of sport that's now being added, and just giving that equal opportunity for the female athletes to really have a platform for themselves to be able to succeed, just as the male athletes have for so long. I want to talk a little bit more about the growth of women's athletics. We've seen it more and more over the more recent years now with the coverage from ESPN, with the coverage from different media outlets, from newspapers, the streaming. We've had, we broadcast our championships, and it doesn't matter if it's a male sport or a female sport. Our viewers are turning in to watch, women's soccer championships, volleyball championships. So, can you talk just a little about that growth and the importance of the coverage for the women's athletics programs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's phenomenal because you're right. It used to be just the male sports that we were able to see, but people laugh. I mean, I no longer am really an NFL fan since the Rams left St. Louis, but on Sundays in the fall, college volleyball's on. I can watch college volleyball all day. So it's exciting to see that. And I feel like the knowledge and the growth of the sport is just going to continue with those opportunities. I mean, everybody, wants to watch those big professional sports, and everybody's excited now about soccer. But, we want those other sports, and we want the females specifically to get those same viewing opportunities that the male sports are getting. So
And
that's
you and like you mentioned there with the volleyball, I think in particular that kind of jogged my memory. With the World Cup going on now, back in the day with Mia Hamm and all the women's soccer players, you can see the impact that just having the game on a TV screen has for the development for the youth programs. We saw it with the women's soccer and how that's come alive here in America. Volleyball, I think, is one of the best sports to watch. You'd always kind of back in the day maybe tune in during the Olympics, right, and watch the
right.
volleyball Olympics. But now more and more people are getting into the collegiate volleyball. I mean, and I believe that's this weekend, right? That starts up this weekend,
Yes.
D1.
Yes.
That's so entertaining. So yeah, go out, watch that, and you'll be entertained. It's a great game to watch. So just
Yeah.
that kind of impact, just seeing it out there, letting the younger girls see what they can accomplish and have goals and dreams to accomplish. So just a couple more questions for you. What are some areas that you think are still need to be addressed for Title IX? What would you like to see worked on and improved on over the next 50 years?
I do think, like you said, the viewership has come a long way, but we still have work to do on that as well. And I think that is really key because, as you mentioned, those young girls that are watching it right now, they're watching collegiate volleyball and they're going to see that and get excited, then they're going to grow that sport with us. So being able to do that in all the sports is important, not just the ones that make money for the, TV stations. So we need to expose them to all types of it. I mean, think about the growth we've seen even at the Division III level in women's wrestling, right? That really
right.
Something that was very well known. And so to see that sport kind of take off now, and now we have a couple more sports that are kind of coming along, emerging sports coming along. It's always been those big sports, but I think it's important to do that. I mean, for me, I was exposed to things, but my only way to do it was like lessons, like whether it was swimming and diving or, I took baton twirling lessons and trampoline lessons when I was a kid, whatever we could be active in. But I think all those little minority sports can really have the opportunity to implode when you do that. And then, of course, it's important to realize Title IX is just not athletics, right? It's across the board, equality for females all the way across the board. So I think, especially on a college campus, that's always going to be a priority for us, is to try to make sure that we are offering as much equality as we can in everything we do.
Great point. Yes, Title IX, just not athletics, but equality across the board. As we're kind of celebrating this Title IX anniversary, it got me thinking, we're doing these Title IX talks with people from around the conference, but what are some other ways do you think, or what's kind of a summary that we can say to people to help them understand what Title IX is and the impact that it's had and how important it is to not just make it just this year, but to continue addressing it in the future?
I think you're right. The talks all help. Anything we can get out there, especially on social media now, is going to expose more people to that, especially the younger generation, because they're on social media. But, it had me thinking as we approach this anniversary and everybody started kind of doing things that, it's important for me, even as, we hold summer volleyball camps, that, I could be at least exposing those students to that and letting them know that, part of the reason why you have this experience is because of Title IX. So they might not even realize it at that young age, but the more we can do exposure at every single level is just going to help us grow that.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you again for taking time out of your day to talk a little Title IX and look back and celebrate the 50 years. Thank you again, Mary.
My pleasure. Thanks, Brian.